All right, let's do that. Yep. Yep. I'll let someone else do this because I've picked already.
Let's see. Let's go with What about table number 32? No one's joined that yet. All the members haven't joined. We could also do table 9. Yeah, table 9. I like table 9.
Okay.
Table 9, no pressure. Damon Stone's only watching you play a game he helped create. It's not a big deal at all.
It's really not a big deal.
Oh, hey, no, I'm okay with this. I know both of these players. Lavis is a German, I believe, player. Daniel and Zinchling is actually someone from my local meta. Chris McLennan, just a really, really good guy. It's wonderful to see these two players who I genuinely have a great affection for playing against each other. But only one can survive, so let's see how this turns out.
Wow. Got a Haley Kaplan versus an Asa group. Of course, it's always Asa. You know what I mean? It's one of my favorites.
Wait, maybe I'm looking at the wrong stream.
Oh, sorry. We're at table...
Table 9, sorry. Okay, I went to table 12 somehow. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Which table are we?
Okay. Table 9, Haley versus Asa.
I'm going to abbreviate them and call them 76 and adjourned. I think it's probably good.
So it seems like they are making sure everyone has opponents, and we will probably start after everyone is set up.
Okay, I'm going to make one last attempt to remember to get my glasses and not eat the food that was specially prepared for some summer event. What? It's like I went downstairs. I just wanted to get a drink and have a quick break, and then I saw the food there, and then I ate it, and then I was like, "Oh yeah!" And I went back upstairs, and twice I've done that now. So I need to have some discipline and not do that.
Do you have your glasses?
No, that's what I'm going to go. I'm going to go try one last time and just not eat the food. That's what I'm going to try and do. This is so frustrating.
Okay, so it looks like we're starting Haley versus Asa. Jason, what do you expect to see out of this matchup?
I think he stepped away for a moment just to go get his glasses.
Okay, that's what he was.
But I'll tell you what I expect to see.
Just as good, Hollis.
I expect to see the blitz happen. Okay, that's what I fully expect. I expect to see the asset spam and the never advance game begin immediately with Asa. That's what I expect. On Haley Kaplan, I expect every possible install known to the universe immediately. Oh no! Oh no! Do you see this?
So an interesting thing. Hyperdriver, normally when you see it before this most recent ban list, you expect some sort of abusive combo with memory stacking with like Deep Deer and Leprechauns and stuff like that. But modern Haley decks, after coming off the ban list and a lot of those MU stacking cards removed, it's mostly just a tempo card. It's a 1-cost in advance diesel or something like that. It's really cool to see it being used this way. This is like pure tempo econ.
Man, this is. I don't even know what to expect from this Haley. Yeah, because I mean, that's really what I'm thinking about right now. Here, Pat, is what sick combo might end up happening because of Hyperdriver.
So it can't be Diaper, yes, correct?
There's no DDoS. There's no false echo.
Cool.
So unlikely, I would guess.
And there's no Encore, correct?
There's no what?
Encore. The one that lets you take another turn.
Encore died for Hyperdriver.
Good choice. Good choice. Okay, so
So this is a very similar Asa build to the ones we've been seeing being played. But unlike a lot of the other Asas we've seen, which have gone for the wide board state, getting an ice down on every server, stuff like that, they pushed hard for that first score because they knew that was a vulnerability wherever on the board it was, that SSL. And they've kind of consolidated their board state very interestingly.
I haven't seen Professional Contacts in a while either, but this card is value.
Very value. Damon, what kind of decks did you really enjoy playing with Haley Kaplan?
I mean, I was a big fan of was, well, actually, all the decks that I played mostly centered around what I call sideways attacks. Using, I gotta turn this volume down just a little bit since I can still a little aggressive with its sound effect. So I opted mostly for things that would attack people from directions they didn't see coming, which meant that my Shaper decks were more on the toolboxy side. And so Haley was mostly about trying to play various combinations and just getting everything out as quickly as possible. So there were too many potential solutions. So the corp did not know how best to defend their own servers.
Nice.
That reminds me of several years ago, Spags put together a pitchfork deck, is what he called the deck, but it was Haley with artist colonies and every tool you could imagine under the sun, and you always had those answers at your fingertips. It felt just incredibly powerful. Just to recap what's gone in the game, Tapeworm got installed, Ngolo is down, so One Eye servers are in trouble. They popped the hyperdriver just to gain some tempo.
Yep. Wonderful. So I'm just waiting for, if we see that Ankusa, the one that bumps back barriers, I'd be so happy. Although,
so Ankusa is really good. It actually, about a year ago, one of the MWLs, it led to a really abusive Haley build when in combination with Lamb, because Lamb would paint any of the ice into barriers, and then Ankusa would pop it back up. It was really disheartening to play against.
yeah, I played something like that with on at Worlds, the ones I went to against a guy named against a few players. I won once, which was quite nice.
Wonderful.
Oh dear.
I want to point out here, similar to what we saw in the other asset deck that was played, Adjourned is pushing through these agendas as quickly as possible because, again, Shapers especially, right? They do create that runner prison, that inevitability that once I've got all the money, there's really nothing you can do. I'm gonna look at your R&D, your HQ every single turn. You can't stop me.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Oh, a second Tapeworm coming down.
Oh, there you go. I do not mind this line of play outside of Shaper. It makes total sense. I'm surprised that because Asa, normally I'm seeing Asa with lots of assets or lots of upgrades in a single server. I'm surprised I'm not seeing either more assets or more upgrades in this server.
I think part of it is the card draw. He hasn't gotten very many card draw tools, and he's gotten 2 5/3, so he needs to get those out of hand, right? These 5/3s are going to buoy his economy, and they help him bank stuff so that Tapeworm is not accruing as many credits as it would otherwise. So it looks like he's just not drawing the assets to be able to play that style, and he's making it work.
Oh wow, 2 agendas. That's quite.
Yeah, he's up 6-9, and the other element.
Not just 2 agendas, 6 points of agendas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 6 agendas would be quite a lot.
Well, no, Jason said 2 agendas. I'm like 2 agendas, if they're like 2 points each, is fine, okay, cool. But 2 3-point agendas scored already is a big deal because deck actually isn't working out the way that it's meant to.
Mm-hmm.
And actually,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask Damon a question here, just in general, because we have an example of something that I think that is newer-ish in the lifespan of Netrunner in the design cycle, is the sort of concept of defensive 5-3s, right? 5-3s that are very, very difficult for the runner to score. Not very, very, difficult for the runner to score and are hugely advantageous for the corp if scored or stolen. Damon, did you get to play around a lot with that kind of concept in your time as a designer for Netrunner?
I mean, are you talking about just SSL endorsement in general?
SSL.
That was one.
Sorry, go ahead. Yes, SSL endorsement, but yeah, what about all other 5-3s that maybe were played around the office?
This was something that Lucas and I had sort of gone back and forth with in design. Originally, we were both of the mind that agendas really should do a reward if they are scored and do absolutely nothing if they're stolen. That was how most of the agendas were in original game. But as we went through for a couple years of design, players definitely gravitated to a very different play style than original Netrunner players. Part of that obviously is our design had different goals and very different restrictions. If you played the original Netrunner or you were familiar with its history, there were no card limits. So your entire deck could be 5 different cards. And so creating those kinds of restrictions bred just a very different kind of player. The fact that there was the internet around also made the ability for. Go ahead.
Sorry, Damon. You're kind of a bit there. So could you just repeat that your last phrase there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep. Sorry about that. Thank you. Sorry, you cut out. You was talking about the. Oh, sorry. No.
I was. Yeah, so. Okay. So long story short, because I don't want to talk over the rest of the commentary for the game. We decided that because of how players were playing, how testing was working, the ability to play online and play various combinations and iterations of a deck, dozens, if not scores of times, in making small changes, that the runners being so powerful during the particular phase that we started playtesting these ideas, that it was really going to be necessary to have a couple of agendas that had some teeth on both ends, either benefiting the corp either way or punishing the runner.
Nice. So yeah, as you started to realize the nature of the game itself was very different from ONR. Those kinds of concepts, which were initially off the table, became more of generalized things you looked at adding towards agendas in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gorgeous.
Okay. Something's happened in the game. It seems there's a bit of a dispute with trashing. They're taking care of it now. Thank goodness.
And it looks like this Acid deck is running ganked.
So what does that do? So let's have a look.
Oh, it's a zero cost.
That makes you encounter an ice makes you encounter an ice, I believe.
Nice.
This art scares me. It reminds me of what movie is that?
Like Dragonheart or something.
Yeah, like the giant eye. You're like, what? Hold on.
Yeah. Are you thinking Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, actually, yes, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah, probably that one too. There's that one. Only probably the most popular nerd movie in existence. Not quite sure how you replace that one. It's cool.
I have no idea what you're talking about. All right.
Yeah, this one, this piece was done.
Actually, it's a great card to run in an HV deck if you're running some scary
So
very nice. And I see a Fairchild 3.0 would be a great thing to have them encounter.
Or as we saw in previous games, a tier, getting to trigger a ganked onto a tier, fantastic.
is the stream okay? Because it looks like the stream window is blank. Or it could just be my browser. So I think it's just my browser.
But I did just want to shout out the artist who did the ganked artwork that Hollis was excited about is Nikita Hopkins. Mentioned her before. She's the community manager for Nisei, and one of the members of the art team, the in-house art team for Nisei. And she's been doing some really wonderful work. She does photography for flowers, so you'll also see her work on like Rhyme as well. Just wonderful person, wonderful artist.
It is gorgeous art. Looking at this board state here, right? We got a Haley Kaplan with things like Proco and the ability to dig deep in R&D. But of course, I mean, this Fairchild 3 is not a slouch. HQ's wide open, and the Corp is already on 6. So right now, even though the runner has very few credits, would you call right now the Corp effectively locked, or do you think the Corp can actually draw into the agenda necessary and just squeeze this in before it's too late?
I think that it depends whether the shaper can. Well, I suppose the shaper could install a tapeworm, or if the shaper can install something else and sacrifice it to the ASOS pawn shop and get the econ going again. I suppose it can. I suppose it can be a soft lock.
Right. What the thing is, Angolo is such a good counter to Fairchild 3, right? Don't get me wrong, it's not cheap, but it's cheaper than almost anything else that you would play to break this card. So what Asa would have to do would be like install another piece of ice to make it more economically and viable to go into R&D, but then the R&D interfaces make it so that you only have to run every couple of turns. So I think the Ace is in a really tough spot, honestly, because I don't know how they're going to get their agendas unless they already had one in hand, which it looks like they might have.
So they've got something installed in a 3 ICE server.
The 3 ICE is key too, because it means that assuming one of them is a code gate, it means that Angolo can't paint both of the other cards to prevent them getting in.
The question is, if you got 2 pieces of ice there, are they both 4 credits? You can only hope that. I can only hope so. Otherwise, you're only resin 1 ice. Then again, if you can res 1 ice and force them to steal this agenda, that's fine. I think you'll be okay losing 1 agenda. It's if they can make the continued runs that you've got an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, going after HQ.
I'm betting some
IPO
tour guides, which are a cheap res.
A tour guide would be devastating right now.
Oh wait, no, the tour guide wouldn't have any subs because there's no.
There's one. There's one server though, right? So it'd have 1 sub.
I believe it's resed assets. I might be wrong.
Oh, okay. Oh no, I think you might be right actually.
Gatekeeper. It looks like at least one of these subs is going to fire because the big D line did not use ASOPs this turn, I believe. Right. So not economically up enough to threaten this server without letting a subroutine go off. Fire all unbroken subroutines is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, this is
such a tempo boost for Asa.
It really is. I'm sincerely hoping that's not a.
Is this game?
I mean, unless like that was an NGO and they didn't actually have an agenda, it seems pretty likely.
Right. If it is an NGO, that's incredibly disrespectful. That sounds like a very disrespectful. I really feel like that's the thing with. I just lost the name of the car with NGO, right? With NGO front, because you're just like, really? You made me come all the way here for nothing?
I love that. I love
How
that.
rude! How rude of you! I brought a present and everything.
I think the worst deck to run into an NGO with was last FFG Worlds with Intimukundu. It was just so painful to get through all the Anansis, all the DNA trackers, and then find.
Whoa!
Yeah, it was.
It was a 4-3
We
or
go.
4-3. Excuse me.
Wow! Timely public release. Timely.
Very timely indeed.
Yeah. Picture of a boat, a little of a tongue-in-cheek joke towards FFG's on the boat logo. This art piece was done by Akira, who is the online OP coordinator for Nisei and also part of the art team in Nisei. And she's been doing some incredible work. Also, like the new border control was her work. The false lead. Yeah. Perfect.
Wow, I mean, the momentum, just thinking about how all of that snowballed, right? The momentum from ASA by scoring that early SSL endorsement, which helped that credit pool just continue to stay, keep them afloat, that allowed the next SSL endorsement, which then let them stay afloat for that last 4-2. SSL endorsement is such a solid agenda.
Yeah, I love it so much. It makes so much sense.
And honestly, I think the ASA played through a very hard situation very well.
Yes.
Because if you think about it,
Definitely.
you didn't see them discard any assets, which is what their deck is built on. You didn't see them draw very many ice. They drew 2 5/3s early game, which is normally a liability, and they managed to score them and play through that vulnerability really, really well. Very
Solid.
impressive.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
On the swap up, though, let's have a chat about Adam.
Damon, this is all you. I want to hear your thoughts on Adam and his design.
Hang on a second. I gotta pull through. I have to do a new table 9.
Right. It should be near the bottom, I believe. It was on mine.
Under the competitive tab, also, just in case. I kept forgetting that it's a competitive tab.
Yeah.
So it's Adam versus RP. Kind of expect to see that
There we go.
that RP style with sundews and bioethics and Obokata protocols. You can go one of 3 ways with this. You can go really tempo heavy Yakuza Yakuza Tiger Bread style. You can go grinder, focusing on the bioethics, or you can do some sort of combo kill with dedication ceremony and Ronin, and all RPs will use some elements of those 3 things, I think.
I'm surprised by bioethics. It seems far too effective a card. I mean, I like it. I love it a lot. I'm just surprised that got through, considering what the Jinteki power level appeared to be.
True, but I think the lack of Breach Dome really helped, really made it more palatable.
Agreed. I can agree with that.
Yeah, because now you have to defend a server where you aren't gaining tempo if the runner runs there, right? You can still put cheap spiky ice there, but you're investing resources into something, unlike with Breach Domes and Archives, where the runner was investing resources in order to run a central to snipe at the bioethics.
Yeah, that's just painful.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He adjourned. I don't know who exactly what they identify as, but adjourned provided or ran with neutralize all threats. So when they accessed that second card, they didn't choose to trash it with Imp. Did I miss that? They should have been able. Supposedly they could have, right?
I mean, neutralize all threats trash is the first card you access, and then the second card they have a choice to, and they chose not to.
First time you access a card with a trash cost, so maybe it just didn't have a trash cost.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Funny note, rules wise, if you access a card in archives with a trash cost, that counts as the first time you access a card with a trash cost. So then you can run the other servers and not have to worry about having to trash whatever you access.
Oh,
That's
see,
correct.
now we're getting weird. Now we're getting into the weird Adam interactions.
Yeah, I love that. Well, that's one of the reasons why I have to ice up archives.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, in RP, you're probably going to want to anyway. Adam making good use of the influence Adam has to put out pad taps of such a bargain at one influence and imps, which will help him keep on top of the RP board state. RP playing out ice over all three centrals.
Oh, that is devastating.
Defending their
Choice.
economic assets. Yeah.
This is disgusting. So at the start of the turn, at the start of the turn, 76 will grab the 2 from Sundew, the 3 from Commercial Bankers Group, and then still have the 2 credits to help res.
From
Oh,
Temple.
So much.
7 credits.
This is why it's called the Fun Police. Okay,
Yeah,
that's why this deck is called the Fun Police. That's why this ID is called the Fun Police.
I mean, look at the credit 76 has. On this turn, they went up to 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, this ID ability is just. It just seems a bit too powerful. It doesn't seem to have any true downside. To be honest, I feel like maybe the influence could be less or something like that if it wants to keep this ability, or there needs to be a way to turn this ability off, like maybe like if there's a credit limit or a.
And
I don't really think it needs limits. Like, I mean, I would consider RP's ID ability as powerful as like 419, maybe even less powerful. So it just forces the runner into click compression, and Jinteki doesn't have a ton of click compression tools right now, so they just need to make their ice spiky.
The reason why I find the click compression to be an issue is that you need to spend your clicks to draw your cards, and
with bioethics, sure.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean-
there's the bioethics. Oh, sorry, go on, sorry.
well, this is just, this is what we've come to expect, right, from RP. This drip economy, across the board, additional economy for resin cards, which are going to be your assets, and ice, and then you have bioethics. So yeah, like you mentioned, Jason, just continuing to tax the runner more and more clicks. And this is especially rough when you look at the fact that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam starts off using a click immediately, right? From it
used to be always be running, but
that's right.
that is normally the one, since Adam got Find the Truth as a 4th directive, that's normally the one that gets left behind. Primarily because of that force run, especially when NBN with hard-hitting news was in the meta. That not great.
That's true. Wow, a stim hack? 1 card in HQ, stim hack.
Oh, well,
Now would be a terrible time for a snare. Now would be a terrible time for a snare.
See, you say terrible, but I keep hearing. Oh,
here.
Wow. Pat, you mentioned how good Ingolo is, and as I see these strong code gates, I'm more convinced.
Yeah,
because some of these code gates that we're seeing are so the strength is so high. They have multi subs.
this one's even a sentry, and Anglo was able to get through it.
That's so good. It's so good.
The art on tier, I'm just I know we've talked about it before. Just loving Liga's work here. I love the eyes in the background. That's Fenrir hiding behind the chains that bind him. And it's going to be available as a playmat for Continentals coming up. So sign up for that if you want to see this art as big and glorious as possible.
That will be a beautiful playmat.
I'm so
Meeting adjourned agreeing with us. That's a good card.
This is horrible. I mean, I don't know. I find something really, really,
or maybe
really
he was
despicable.
agreeing with. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I agree. I agree with all that, but I just find something so despicable about having a Bioroid working for Jinteki.
Right. The custom biotics player would have that opinion one day.
Yes, yes, you would. Oh.
It just seems so. Granted, this is still a game, right? But it does seem incredibly oppressive when you
just looking at the credit pools and the board state. Gosh, it's
yes.
Yikes.
5 credits a turn. Every turn, the corp is saying, "I gain 5. I gain 5."
Well, luckily for Adam, they managed to trash the one bioethics that was out there previously, but Rashida just triggered, so it's very possible that he got into several more. Another Sundew going down. With just that economic lead becoming more and more oppressive. Although the pad taps, I'm sure, feel pretty nice from the runner side.
Oh yeah.
I really, again, RP is.
It's too commercial.
It's
so. So 10 credits every turn. Here's a question for everyone here. How many
economic
credits
oppression? I'm sorry. How many credits? Too many?
Yeah. How many are too many?
No, see, the only issue is that I have with this is I would be okay with this, except for it's just the bioethics on top. That's just nasty.
Yeah.
Because now you got to spend your clicks maintaining your cards, and then you got to try and set up your board state so you can run, but you can't do both at the same time because your cards are being poked off, and then you got to try and make the run, and you got to look at all these assets. Ugh.
I mean, I think part of the problem here was letting, like, sometimes as runner you just got to you have to hold off on building your board state to disrupt the corp. And I think back at the beginning of the game where there was no ice on the centrals and there was a Sundew, a Mamba Temple, and a Commercial Bankers Group res, I would have spent all of my credits, as many as I could, getting rid of those cards because that just vaulted. Like, they wouldn't have been able to res that here.
You can't let
those cards had not been ticking for a couple turns.
You can't let an asset spam deck actually get situated.
Right.
In the moment they get stabilized, then you're behind the 8 ball for the rest of the game, unless you've got something that just doesn't care. If you're running criminal shenanigans where you're just hopping and skipping over ice and de-resing stuff, like that's a way of ignoring what they're trying to do, playing a completely different game. But outside of that, you can't let them get stabilized.
Apocalypse.
I need to happen. I need like a 20 credit whaling card with 4 influence. Spend 20 credits. It's 2 agenda points. It's just an operation. 20 credits, 4 agenda points, and you got 2 points and a bad publicity. That'd be lovely. I'd love
you
that.
Dump money directly into winning. I like it.
That said, while this board state, like, the RP has infinite credits at this point,
right.
But I mean, it's very possible for Adam to get like multi-accesses and win at this point. Like, they're not fantastic at economy, but they've got that logic bomb. They've got Angolo to get through any one ice server. So, like, even though, from the runner's perspective, I'm sure this board state looks disgusting. Definitely should not count them out.
Gosh, I mean, take a look at server 10.
Well, I mean, I want to say we're still at a position that the massive credit advantage and that economic oppression, there's nothing scored. The only agenda that is off table is the runner's stolen area. So
the only pressure being leveraged right now by the corp actively is probably bioethics. They're not putting scoring pressure on the runner, forcing them to make mistakes and forcing them to run into their spiky ice, stuff like that.
Please don't be fooled. You've got a bioethics and you've got a blacklist in server 10. I mean, is that meant to be exile on the blacklist? Or is it some random student?
No, that's just it's not even a student. That's just a random individual.
Okay, because I'm just saying it's not like Danny that in the board game from Android board game, I believe Caprice was interested in some guy named Danny who went to a college and he got kicked out because he might have gotten threatened to be kicked out because he was of association with Nisei. So that's just the canon I have in my head anyway. Either way,
we'll go with that.
I can.
Yeah, sorry. Either way, I feel that the oppression of exile. I don't understand why you have to nerf exile so hard with that blacklist. What did exile do to you?
Jason has a clear agenda here. I'm going to talk it out for a sec. So I'm thinking about it. So everything Damon said is correct. So only one agenda point is scored right now.
Okay.
Sandberg being pressed. Oh wow.
On top of 5 strength, Malinci. Just one of those like hefty spiky ice that is made that much more lethal by Sandberg. Yeah. But Angolo has one of the best strength boosts in the game, so it seems like they're going to make it through this pretty well. Also, they have a logic bomb in their hip pocket should they ever need it. So I'm assuming they're going to immediately trash that Sandberg.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then come up with a plan to deal with the other two when they come out of the deck.
So right now on the corp side, you're printing money. You own the bank. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're printing this much money, what Damon said is correct. Right now, there's only one agenda point scored, and there's no scoring remote. And the ice on the centrals, now that Sandberg is gone, has teeth, is pricey, but not outside the realm of possibility for the runner to get in.
Right.
So the corp needs to push out these agendas ASAP, so the runner stays on the back foot. They don't have a chance to get breaker or more economy out to dig. So yeah, I think this ISO on R&D is good. Make it super taxing, and then just get ready for the scoring remote.
I think the goal of this deck is not ever going to be scoring too many. I think this is a great style PE deck.
I think that it's an attrition deck. It just has all the money to do all the things, and it just picks away at you, wearing you down, getting rid of your options. And Malinci is a great piece in that puzzle, just eating away at your deck if you can't break it. And if you can break it, then it's eating away at your points.
Oh, interesting. DNA modification. Not a card I see very often.
Wow.
But like Damon said, this absolutely feeds into an attrition style strategy, right?
Yeah, good call. Yeah, for sure. I want to take a second and point to something someone said in the chat. Roro on Twitch said, "Me looking at RP board state, questioning what past sins I must have committed."
Can you imagine the double wide playmat you'd have to play this in real life right now?
I have to say, I'm loving this RP deck. I really am.
Fun police.
Great. It really teaches it's teaching you how important that early sacrifice of the runner's own board state to counter the corp can be really, really vital to establishing how the game is going to go. The runner can draw cards so much easier than the corp can. Especially since the corp draws into their vulnerabilities with agendas. So The runner, like they didn't get on top of it at the beginning of the game, and now it looks really intimidating. In the
The
chat,
only way that
this is very pleasant Netrunner.
Pastoral RP.
Yeah.
I had to lull at that. That's
Well articulated, friend. Well
great.
articulated.
Great a low key shade. I love it.
I mean, yeah, Pat. To touch on something you said, we're at the point now where at 72 credits, and it's showing that this is a War of Attrition deck. The window's pretty much been missed to even go after these cards anymore, right? Because what is that? 12 credits jumping in every turn. You've got 4 reoccurring credits for rezzing. I mean, at this point, even if you go after those, the corp has more than enough credits to do what they've got to do.
It depends on what the multi-access plan is for Adam, I think. If they have like cards that allow them to do deep digs and they manage to draw them before the next Sandbergs come out, maybe that's going to be enough. All of these credits don't mean much when Sandberg isn't out. It just means he can res more ice, and guess what? Angelo can get through them.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
Yeah, and especially if he starts doing what he's doing right now and starts trashing the attrition cards, right?
Mhm.
Oh wow.
yeah.
Adjourn.
I
Get him.
think that if some ice destruction would be nice. Yeah, some ice destruction would be nice.
Oh.
It would. It's very influence heavy for Adam, though. Like hippos are for influence.
I'm a bit on edge watching this because I honestly don't know. I don't know what. It's so weird. What's done here? What is this? Oh no! Don't do this to me.
My guess is he's going for a Ronin kill.
What were you saying, Jason?
I mean, I'm surprised by the influence spread. I mean, I do wonder. I know you need big ice, and that's fine. I'm just thinking that Jateki has enough big ice that you don't need to include the Bioroid.
Yeah, Tyr is a hefty influence investment for sure.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to say that I think that it's really worth it. The idea of if you can get it out and rezzed and 10 credits, obviously, in this deck is not that. What turn 4? Just have the ability to just super spam and score out if you had to. If they're breaking it via clicks, if they're getting credits for something that's not Angola, then that's really not too terrible. 7 strength, 3 subs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
As far as the influence spread goes, we've seen 10 influence, assuming the next 2 influence is spent on commercial bankers groups. So there's 3 influence that we have unaccounted for. And that new build server going down, interested to see what that threat is from Big D Line.
87 credits.
Okay, I just like to remind everyone that this is the friendly version of the deck. Okay, now back in the day when dealing with this deck, there was also Ash and Nisei in the server. I want you to bear that in mind.
Or you were playing this in IG with 3 shocks and 3 breached domes.
Ooh.
It was a very small space in the meta, but man, it was gross.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
I looked upon them with envy.
Damon, if you're a runner right now, are you checking that card with 2 advancements? Would you do it?
Sorry, I didn't catch you.
If you're on the runner side right now, are you checking that card with 2 advancements, or are you leaving it alone?
Honestly, probably not at this point. What a stack of 9 cards? Ugh.
Yeah.
I might be fearful of it being something that's just going to kill me out if I don't.
I have a feeling it's a fetal. That's my feeling. So either way, that just makes it worse because there's no winning with that.
It could be a fetal, it could be the Ronin, which really feeds into that attrition strategy, right?
Oh.
The fetal, obviously, you don't really want to run it. Ronin, you don't want to not run it, which is exactly the situation that you're constantly wanting to create for any Jinteki deck. Is damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know what? You
Looks
should
like
make
that first installed card there was a bluff. They installed something over it. Fun. Jinteki doing the most with bluffing.
I stay suspicious now that it's been suggested, or we can see that it's an attrition deck. I'm like, I don't trust anything. I don't trust. I don't care. Like,
someone in chat mentioned because it's an attrition deck, it like it's possible it's even an Obokata just in case we're getting close to time. Which is an amazing shout. Thank you, Sela Quill, for that. That would be fantastic. All of the mind games here.
actually, that is a good point. Someone just mentioned this in chat. I missed this. They said they find it interesting that the corp is on 100 credits, but they haven't trashed pad tabs.
Yeah. I feel like there are definitely turns where it should have happened. Because that limits the runner's ability to make these impactful runs more, right?
Right.
And they've gained tons of money off of these pad taps by Sundew triggering on the runner's turn, and then Commercial Bankers Group triggering on the corpse turn. They've been gaining 4 credits each round.
Inazuma?
It's not your round.
Oh wow! Inazuma, what? Inazuma in a tier. Fire. I'll be right back. I need a drink.
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh, dear, I know that feeling.
I still remember my first time hitting a chunk. I remember that, and I was like, "Oh yes, what's the worst that could happen?" I was like, the game is over.
Almost interesting that they decided to go into HQ. I guess they want to leverage the find the truth. But I feel like I would have jacked out after that Inazuma and then gone after the other threats on the board. The maybe the advanced card, maybe the iced up card. Utai. Interesting.
Okay, hold on. We gotta
Dakota. Okay, do we have they got the full breaker suite? Okay, it seems we've got the full breaker suite.
Yep.
Those of you at home, this card's a bit newer. 4-cost Icebreaker Killer, Odor. I'm not sure. 0 strength, 2 credits to break any number of Sentry subroutines. 0 credits, you can break a Sentry subroutine, but you can use that ability only if you have 3 or more installed virtual resources, and you can you can also spend 3 credits to gain 3 strength. Very interesting breaker.
I like it in this deck. It's a fun include in Adam, because what does Adam start with? 3 virtual directives.
Yep. So it's online immediately. That's awesome. That's really good.
Obviously meant to combo with like Hoshiko and the companion breakers, but this is a very this is a secondary cool interaction. Is that it works well with Adam. Adam just with his directives singing and dancing his heart out.
Pat, who do I have to talk to, considering Odor is about dancing? Who do I got to talk to get Damon on this card?
Who would be? Oh wow, yeah, that should definitely be an alt art potential in the future.
Yes.
Wow, really?
Wow. I mean, this
actually it should be a dance at all.
Okay.
That's 4 commentators for the 4 people on.
Genius. I'm in. No,
Okay.
I mean
Well,
the
I don't
runner.
know if I don't know how well I'd look good dancing.
We're coming up on the end here,
Here goes-
everyone.
Here comes the
silhouette,
server.
so it's fine.
Going for the server.
The runner is right now on 7 cards remaining, and I don't.
I think the situation has happened now. See, because even with the oppressive amount of money that the corporation has, as soon as the runner,
Saisentan.
I mean, the runner has enough money to run multiple times per turn, and I think they can do it comfortably now.
Mm-hmm. And they're enabled that because the pad tap got to sit around for so long.
Yep.
Yep.
What's the so right now we're at 117. I think the most I've seen in one game was something around 200. What's the most amount of credits you've seen in one game?
About
I got
130.
150-ish with a government takeover Blue Sun once.
Jeez, what'd you say, Jason?
I've only seen 130. That's what I've seen. So
We're coming up. We're coming up.
Yeah, I think at this point you just like stop gaining credits and you say you have infinite credits. Although I guess it matters with Sandberg.
Wow.
But
Wait,
now,
yeah.
yeah, this
Now
is
you're
why you
using,
have
like,
multiple core set
buttons.
box of tokens.
change.
Oh, so it seems to be a bug. A bug seems to have happened.
Adjourn says
when the runner encounters this piece of ice, choose a card type for the remainder of the encounter. Whenever you trash a card of that type with net damage from a subroutine on this ice, do 1 net damage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's doing so. There's a possibility of doing between 3 and 6 net damage, depending on how many subs get fired.
It's designed to work with Hyobu, which keys off of revealing cards from the runner's hands, or revealing cards in general, but like specifically the runner's hand in this one.
Oh dear.
Moment Temple. Oh my god, it's so good. The corp is like, oh, are you running? I don't even need to spend my real credits.
And the runner still has meeting in Gradjund. And the runner still has all the credits to spare. I mean, I still feel that the runner credits are more important than the corporation credits.
Oh. Another big spike in the ice.
I mean, if I think back to when, for example, like RP was a primary, like a big deck in the meta, and goodness gracious, like even IG, we only saw maybe, a smattering, a small, less than 5 ice in the deck that were above 6 to res, right? Just because you just could not sustain you didn't have the credits to sustain that. Oh wow, that's a good score.
But it's exactly what Jason was talking about. Like, because the pad taps have been sit around unperturbed for so long, he's been able to leverage that into multiple runs a turn, even through Chiashis, even through Tears, even through Saisentan and Inazuma.
And this is why I feel that the runners need resource checks. Because the runner was able just to sit back and wait, get the money, and if the corporation does that, they're going to lose because their agendas are going to get stolen. If the runner does that and they build up resources, they can still intimidate the runner, even if they don't have as much credits as the corporation. Sorry.
The only time the runner
for the case of
was bioethics, an immediate threat to them building up that board state, right? But we are getting close to the end of Adam's deck, so we'll see.
Man, this is where, granted, what's happened has happened, but this is where we start getting. When I see this third piece of ice here, this is where I start really starting to theorize about what we were talking about earlier with the pad taps. At this point, the third eye is significantly taxing. But is this the scenario that exactly what we were talking about, where had the Pat House been gone for a while, they likely wouldn't have the credits to even run through this third piece of ice.
Yep.
So it all sort of compounds.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Make sure to scrub your malware, friends. Damon, do you see the art on this new daily cast? Keeping your girl smoking there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Done by Oli Boldador, who did a significant amount of Uprising and Downfall cards. Artist from the Philippines. Just really great guy. Really, really awesome to work with. He's also done like other cards we've seen, like Roughneck Repair Squad, Masterwork, so on and so forth.
Mm. I am always a fan of seeing some old familiar faces, or in this case, arm tats. New.
I mocked up a piece of Dailycast before we developed flavor text for it for this iteration, and so me as the graphic designer, I just put like for the flavor text, I put, "Look at me, I'm smoking my vape, and I'm being the most awesome," and stuff like that. It was considered keeping it, but decided against it.
Yeah, not really the most smoke type of text, but funny.
The server makes me like uneasy in my stomach.
I am crying. The ice here are so strong.
But Adam is getting through them, and he has the tools to get through them. He has logic bombs.
It's true. Adjourn said math.
Still okay. Still about 15 credits. Yeah. So the fun police sirens are going off. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Well, at least this is easier on Genteki.net than it is in real life, where trying to do IT department and such forth, like you have to have a table so that you can get the number of counters spent, boosts, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I really liked the original concept for IT department, but I think that the space that it ended up in after playtesting is just, it's not a good design.
Like
I can just say that.
I don't think its power level ever got like really gross. Like there were a couple gross decks that used it, whatever, but the space where it gets confusing is like the actual logistics of doing the math in real life.
I mean, that is the reason why I think it's a bad design. Like the power level itself is not what I'm referencing. It's the amount of time that it takes to figure out what it's going to do in that interaction.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that just happens especially after development.
Yeah.
And
you know, the thing is that we never get enough people to play test to be able to sort out every possible way that something is going to go. The play test, so they will look at cards that they think is like, okay, that one's fine. I'm going to take a look at these other ones, and sure, okay, it was balanced, but the way that it first able to have to do things is less than ideal. It's like having to shuffle your deck every turn. Just like
imagine that, or every click. Huh, weird.
Let's do that again. Spend an extra minute and a half every turn sorting out how this card is going to work this time.
So this is really interesting. I don't know what the agenda density in this RP deck is, but wow, we have seen 34 of their cards and only 2 of them have been agendas. Although servers 17, 18, and 19 are highly suspect. But
True.
betting one of them is a House of Knives just to force that final bit of attrition, as the Atom is without a stack now.
At this point,
The thing that really gets
no, please continue. I'm doing something, kind of doing math in my head.
Working out IT department.
Yeah.
no, the thing that gets me right now is that there's not been that many attacks on R&D trying to check for agendas.
I'm actually a little surprised that there haven't been more R&D runs. Meeting Adjourned ends up losing this game. I think that's going to be the primary reason.
Especially as more and more non-agenda cards come out, that means the relative density in R&D is higher and higher and higher, right?
I mean, it certainly was.
Oh yeah.
Again, now we've got 2 that have been stolen. We have 3 cards face down on the table, 15 in R&D and 1 in hand. It got to be somewhere. But yeah, once that stack is gone, you're in a really bad place with an attrition deck.
5 cards remaining. So if maybe there are Obokadas, I'd assume there are. But that SSL endorsement is, I don't know. I at this point, I honestly don't know. We've seen so few agendas.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you mentioned Obokata, because as soon as he scores a House of Knives and he gets 1 ping of that off, guess what? Next time you run, if you see an Obokata, they'll House of Knives ping you, and you can steal those 3 agendas for the rest of the game.
Oh, rough.
Oh,
No, a bioethics.
Yep.
And ladies,
Mhm.
and there we have it.
Yes, distinguished.
Everybody get ready for the bioethics.
This is going to be grim. Oh, there we go. There's pressure.
Exactly.
Is this the 3rd NGO?
Is no way. No way.
Could be.
Odds are against it for sure.
Could this be it? We got the 3rd Pat Tap out. Why not? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter.
No. 4 cards total left on the runner side.
I mean, at this point, you could put a 0 behind the amount of credits that they have, and either they're going to be able to find them in the next 4 turns, or they're not, and that's going to be game. The credit amount is not going to be the determining factor.
Right.
Chat is saying, Yemi Joey in chat asked the question. So run a central, kill bioethics, and run the agenda. Do you run the agenda first if possible? What's the?
I would run the agenda because it's either victory or death.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I agree. Don't want to expend resources until you know you have to.
Yeah.
And then do we check server 17 as well?
Ronan? Oh, okay.
Wow. So now Adjourned is unable to steal any Obokadas.
Oh, wow.
With Logic Bomb, he could have probably run R&D, tanked whatever that first ice is, and then gone in, right? Unless server 17 is a Sandberg, I don't know.
If server 17 is Sandberg, I'm leaving chat. I'm leaving the stream. I'm don't
Oh dear.
funfully siren. Yeah, I think HQ is fine here. On the off chance there's something it's taking that isn't Obokata.
I mean, yeah, the and neutralize all threats lets you see both cards, which is really useful.
Yeah.
So wait, so that's let me do some quick math here. So that's 9 points of agendas with about approximately 20 altogether. So
Mhm.
that's
21. So yeah,
6
there's
points that you can't steal left.
oh, there it is.
Wow. Wow.
The one agenda he could steal to close out the game, because he couldn't access Obokata's, House of Knives wouldn't get him there. That SSL, that was it. That was
Yeah,
it.
and according to adjourned, that was drawn the turn that adjourned had, or sorry, that line had to score that agenda. So he had one card in hand remaining. He drew into that second card and then had to go advance to make sure it was scored. That is sick.
I mean, like this is exactly what Damon was talking about. If the R&D had become more and more dense, so of course your chances of drawing those agenda vulnerabilities as the corp goes up the further down you go and don't draw agendas, right?
Yeah. Wow. And the corp game ended with corp on 156 credits.
New record, yay!
It's definitely the most I've seen.
150.
156. That's a 15 bonus to Sandberg, right? It's disgusting.
Well, I'm
Okay.
kind of taxed from just watching that game.
Yeah,
I
I'm,
wonder how
I'm-
Jordan feels.
Yeah,
Brain.
I need to take a quick sip, and I'm just gonna check my life again.
It just goes to show that even though this board state looked so indomitable, Adjourn just like made only the runs they felt they had to make. They thought they were going to face an attrition deck, so they hit all the things that would hurt their hand, and tried to make precise maximized runs.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to question someone's strategy when they actually win the game.
Yeah.
Still think that a couple of runs early on to knock out some of those sundews, I think would have made the game a little bit easier, given them a little bit more breathing room.
Stop them from ever installing or from triggering off a Rashida, and guess what? Those agendas just come into hand, and they can't play any assets out. And yeah, completely agree.
That was amazing.
But
It was really well done. It was really
well done. Still did excellent. Made very precise runs, and like really showed that just credits does not win the game.
That's true. Normally when you see that big of a credit disparity between the players, you think sign still delivered, it's over. This was not that.
Right. And this Jinteki didn't, besides the Sandbergs, it didn't have any way to leverage those credits into a win con, right?
Yeah.
It's not Argus or CTM with hard-hitting news and Tag Tech or Boom or something, right?
I mean, like, I'll be completely honest. In this particular situation, this is not saying that this deck should be changed against anything else, but in this particular situation, I would have just really, really wanted like just a simple SEA source. Like, let me tag you on my turn, and let me trash those pad taps.
I mean, those pad taps definitely should have gone, I think, when they had a comfortable credit lead. But we've discussed that.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm silent a bit because I'm amazed.
That's right. I'm sorry. I actually forgot that pad taps had a corp allowed trash ability. Yeah. I'd have taken those out the moment I hit like 30.
I mean, I take them out when I'm like at 10 credits. Like if I were at 50, you better believe.
Well, I mean, it's the doing it earlier as they're coming out is probably your best bet, because it's just going to slow everything runner down. But by the time you've got 30 credits, I just don't see why you're not, especially knowing that you're playing an attrition deck.
And doubly so because it was triggering on both the runner and the corp turn because of Sundew and Commercial Banker's Group.
Ah. Yeah, I gotta get rid of those.
Mhm.
Get rid of
Because
them.
the spiky ice that he had, I mean, he
Oh,
had a,
sorry.
or they, I actually don't even know who this person is, D-line, because they were, their ice was pretty challenging. It was pretty offensive. Getting the meeting adjourned, so they just had less money earlier in the game. Would have been made that ice so much more effective.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really good game to watch to see how modern grinder RP works.
I still really like this deck. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of want to play it.
It seems slightly more refined than
I'll
the
give you.
version that the Brits played in their recent, I believe it was a store champ. That also kind of leveraged their influence to get into dedication ceremony Ronin. So it seems much more dedicated to the grinding out previously PE style and before that PU style plays.
Yeah.
A
I mean,
fun
those
thing
cards
to put in
kept
them.
coming out when you came and liked it.
A fun thing to put in that deck is snares. It's just fun to have snares in there. We go through all that
one of those ways
trouble.
to leverage the credit lead into something really painful. Yeah.
Oh, and cerebral. Ugh, was like, oh, I've seen that before. That was I did not need that in my life. There was just no. Then when you get aggressive secretary, oh. Okay.